Yeah, interesting about that play is they didn't review it. Like, it was such a goofy.
Well, the commentators were
catch.
trying to call for a review, if you will. Like they kept mentioning it, oh, they're gonna have to review this for sure, and blah blah blah. And then they're kicking the field goal. They're like, oh, they must have reviewed it very quickly.
Yeah. So I guess I'm trying to run through the rookies through my head right now.
I suppose he absolutely could be up there. Does he beat out a quarterback though? And Bo Nix has been getting more consistent too. I don't think so either. And now that makes me think of another guy, but he's a gadget player too. Is Deebo Samuel leaving San Fran? Could he go over there to
after
Pittsburgh?
that big contract? Can anybody take that?
Okay, let me ask you this.
Oh yeah.
I think you asked me this earlier in the season, but do you like last year C.J. Stroud or this year Jaden Daniels better? Who's had the better?
Ooh.
Get laced up. Let's go. It's time for Banter with the boys.
Whoop, skull. Yo, welcome back to Banter with the Boys, Gridiron Updates, Week 17, another Vikings W, of course.
Yeah, buddy.
This is not green for the Packers. That is my Grinch sweater, So don't get confused, Packer fans.
You're being the Grinch on the Seahawks, the Packers, and the Lions is what you're going with.
Correct. The Vikings will finish 3-0. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Christmas came a little bit earlier this year. You got to open one present in Seattle on Sunday, so I'll take that for a nice 13-2 start.
They snuck away with that.
Typically we haven't won there in 20 years. So that's
since 2006.
Exactly.
Well,
that's 18 years if I did math quick, but we'll round it up to 20. Sounds way better on the mic.
Well, we'll get to the purple. Don't worry. But Rob, thanks for joining us again as always.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Every week.
Every week. Every single week. And then, of course, Dan, welcome back for another episode.
Dude, it is awesome to be back. I love being on Banter with the Boys, and this is absolutely awesome.
Probably more fun after a Vikings win. There's been so many of those this year. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
And a close
13,
one.
actually.
And Daniel's been dominating the picks all year, too.
Yeah, true. He's
top
been on the
3
top
all
of the
year long.
leaderboard.
He's slipping a little right now.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say a little slow roll, but I'm at 3-1 with this Packers game coming up, so we'll see how that goes.
Did you go Packers?
I did.
Okay, everybody did.
All right.
But the reason why that's in question is we're recording a day earlier than normal. Normally we record on Tuesdays. We are recording on Monday, and the Monday night football game is kicking off in about 30 minutes. So maybe we'll just give a quick brief preview on that, whatever, instead of recapping it, because it hasn't happened yet. But with that, Kev, let's head into our Week 16 game recaps. And of course, starting with the Vikings. I mean, as we always do, and starting with a Vikings win, as we always do this season.
8 in a row, 9 in a row. What is that technically?
I don't know, a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
2 months worth.
Vikings getting the dub, 27-24 in Seattle. What did you say, Dan? First time since when again?
Since 2006, Chester Taylor days.
Chester Taylor days. Yeah, that is a minute.
When he ran that, I think it was like an 80-yard, whatever, back to the house, I was just screaming as a young Vikings fan.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
But Vikings seemed to have it under control most of the day, and then Seattle tried to sneak in there towards the end. That final Seattle touchdown really had me flabbergasted for a while until I was finally able to see that his, what's his name, AJ Barron, something, tight end for the Barner. AJ Barner,
yep.
The tight end for the Seahawks.
Heck of a catch.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
Amazing catch, but seeing it live, I was like, bro, no, 2 feet. What's going on? I'm like losing it. And then you slow it down, you see his knee does touch. His toe touches on like his left leg, and then his knee touches. But his right leg never touches in bounds, so everybody's freaking out that you got to have 2 feet in bounds.
Yep.
But you just got to have a knee counts almost as 2 feet if
2
you
body
look
parts.
at it.
Yep.
And it hit off his helmet at first. He caught it off his helmet.
And then there's the possession thing, right? But it did not move.
No.
I mean, I stared at that ball. You could look at the logo on the ball.
Yep.
And he pinned that thing against it and then grabbed it with both hands. It never really... He had possession the whole time. Just insane.
I haven't seen a catch like that since that Giants NFC Championship game with Eli and
David Tyree.
Gets the helmet.
Super Bowl.
But it was really
Patriots.
interesting. Yeah, interesting about that play is they didn't review it. It was such a goofy.
Well, and the commentators were trying to call for a review, if you will. Like they kept mentioning it, oh, they're gonna have to review this for sure, and blah blah blah. And then they're kicking the field goal. They're like, oh, they must have reviewed it very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, perfect. We got the Vegas spread got a little closer. We got to make sure this is a game. It was just odd that they didn't at least take a half a cent to look at it.
Well, and now have you seen the still? Okay, following drive, obviously Vikings, Sam Darnold to JJ.
Clutch.
Amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
JJ's body control, unbelievable, by the way, to spin around like that and still stay up and get into the end zone, just phenomenal. However, for those Seattle fans that are listening to us, there was that still, you can see a still in the replay of, I think it was, who's our left tackle? Cam Robinson. There might be a hands to the face there that got missed. Allegedly. Have you seen that picture?
No, I haven't. So there's 1,000 plays to get missed.
100%. 100%. And again, that touchdown didn't get reviewed either. So at that time, I still was thinking that was not a touchdown. And then that came out, and I'm all over the X sphere, and everybody's like, "Oh, hands to the face! Vikings getting handed the win again." And I'm just like, I need to get off X, dude.
Yeah, I know.
But we're not the Chiefs. Calm down. We're not the enemy here. Just chill out a minute.
Cheer for us, darn it.
We're in 5th place. Come on, help us out.
Right. No, but yeah, Vikings sealing it. I mean, Jay Jettas, 144 yards, 2 tuds.
Yeah, he had an elite game. He pretty much caught every target. Addison still had another touchdown. Is he double digits yet this year?
For touchdowns?
He's got to be getting close, 8, 9-ish.
He's got to be close.
He's definitely become. He's 8. Got 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones really started off the game real nice. He had a bunch of 7-8 yard runs that got our drive started.
And they're gonna need him for a long, playoff run.
Sure. I like those short down and distance. We really effective moving the ball when we got a little bit of a running game going.
Yes.
I wanted to give a shout out though to the Seattle. I could notice the sound just through the TV set of that place. So
I listened to the first quarter on KFan here because I was on my way home, so I was listening to it on the radio. For those who don't know what KFan is, but listening to it on the radio, that was my first comment to Mariah. I was like, it is loud.
It is loud.
Yeah. You could hear it. I mean, you could barely hear PA, and that dude talks loud as heck. You know what I mean? So
they call it the 12th man for a reason.
100%. So looking at the playoff picture, obviously the Vikes have clinched a playoff spot.
Yep.
Just real quick before we move on, Green Bay in that second spot probably got that locked down. We'll see this week.
They would have to lose out.
Yeah, which I don't foresee happening. They're going to lose this week, obviously, and then the following week, I think they play the Bears.
Yes,
probably. So they might have that. Washington Commanders with the win. We'll talk about them. Just moved up to 10 wins as well in that third spot. So you got Tampa Bay sitting there at 8-7, and Seattle sitting there at 8-7. Yeah, Seattle's all but out of the playoffs at this point. They're not officially eliminated, but they definitely got to win out, and they need some help. They're going to need Washington to drop out, and I don't think that's going to happen. Tampa Bay could still win the division.
Yeah,
Atlanta's also 8-7.
Yes,
so things could still shake out there for them, but
Atlanta being 2-0 over the Bucs this year really helps.
100%. And Tampa's also pretty much all but out, but they still have that outside chance.
Mm-hmm.
But they got Falcons versus Commanders this week, so that's going to be a big game.
That'll be a very good game.
That's going to be a tough game. But anyway, so Seattle, you need some luck. You need some luck on your side, but ultimately, Vikings getting the win, 27-24. Sam Darnold, again, 3 tuds, MVP.
And usually when you're around 8-7 around this time, it's usually good enough to be a 6-7 seed. But
at least
the
a good
NFC
thing.
is just strong this year.
Yeah, 8-7 right now. I think you'd be sitting in a playoff spot in the AFC. Let me see.
Probably need an 11-6 record.
8-7 in the AFC. You'd be 1 game out.
Yeah, because 9-5, isn't that what the Chargers are? 9-6.
9-6, which now beating the Broncos. They're now above the Broncos. So Broncos now in that 7 seed at 9-6. But we'll touch on all the playoffs. Don't you worry. Moving on to our next game, which actually is the game that is going to happen tonight. So we don't need to spend too much time on it. New Orleans Saints going to Lambeau, I believe, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
in Lambeau. It's going to be 32 degrees.
That's cool.
I don't see any reason why the Packers do not win this game. No Derek Carr. I don't believe so. I think he's done for the season, actually.
Oh, he is.
Derek Carr's done. Alvin Kamara's done. MVS out.
Olave out. Taysom Hill
out.
out.
They're going to lean on Jacobs heavily, like they have been for the last
the
5-6
Packers
game. Oh
Yeah, yeah,
considering
for
this
sure.
is a cold game. And then the Saints are just, I don't think they still got a little bit of a fighting spirit in them, but I think they're just cruising to the end of the season.
I was going to mention this in the injuries, but it's relevant to right now. Luke Musgrave will return tonight for the Packers, so that's
Another
not
tight end.
That's not ideal for the Vikes.
Yeah,
for
him and
next week.
Kraft are a good 1-2 combo.
100%. You don't need to give more weapons to Jordan Love this time of the year,
Right.
but so yeah.
Unless something drastic goes wrong and the Packers proverbially pee it down their leg, I don't see that they're ever going to win this one.
No.
There's got to be some really weird bounces, some turnovers that keep, I think the Saints in this game to even have a chance. But I feel like the Packers are going to get out at home, and it's going to be over at halftime.
Do the
I think so
Saints
too.
If some quarterback falls in the draft, do the Saints go that direction?
Ooh.
Now I'm not saying who. Like I don't see a Shadur, I don't see a Cam Ward dropping like that.
Well, they still got Carr under contract. I don't think they're going to be high enough on that draft list to even touch even the top 3. If
Yeah,
there's
I don't even have
3,
anybody in mind. You know what I mean?
If there's
And there's some quarterbacks that are going to leave their teams and be looking for new homes.
Kirk Cousins,
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
so you're going with the Vikings
Hopefully
aren't
not.
keeping them, huh?
I mean, I think they stick to the script and go with McCarthy.
That's the script for you.
I think it is. I mean, O'Connell has shown that he can develop a quarterback pretty well. So I think they're going to stick to the plan and be able to develop McCarthy and hopefully turn him into that franchise quarterback that he can be before they have to give him that $60 million a year that these quarterbacks are getting paid.
If it's that low by then.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
So
right.
it'd
Danny Dimes
probably be
looking for a new
higher.
job.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of people.
Mac Jones.
So-
Mac Jones is, I think, has only got 1 year left. He's going to be looking for a new job. He's kind of auditioning at the moment to try to grab a job
and his
next year.
audition's not going that great
Well,
either.
I'm just throwing him on the list.
When was the last time Saints drafted quarterback in the first round? It had to have been a long, long time ago. I think they're a
good
franchise to take in a established guy.
Fair enough.
That's just my opinion, though. I
You're
don't
saying
know.
You think the Saints would go find sign a vet?
I mean, if
instead
Derek
of
Carr
sticking
doesn't
with
turn
Derek
it
Carr.
around, I mean, they could go with a Kirk Cousins or a Stafford, or not Stafford, but Darnold.
I think Stafford is on the last year of his deal.
maybe.
I think
no,
are
he's
you
not.
sure?
I looked it
One
up.
more?
Yeah,
I
didn't
think
he?
he's got
One more?
2.
Two more?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
It was like a 3-year contract after he won the Super Bowl. So he'll retire a Ram.
There
I'm
should
pretty
be some
sure
movement
anyways.
a little bit, definitely on the quarterback area. But I think that all depends on what the Vikings end up doing with Sam Darnold. Whether they, franchise tag him or trade him with that franchise tag.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's starting to get, every time he wins, it's getting more difficult to say, hey, let's start over again.
True.
Because I think if JJ was quarterbacking yesterday in Seattle, I do not think that final drive goes our way.
No, that's true.
That was a pretty big move that he did, stepping up in that pocket and giving
in
his
Seattle,
body up.
at Lumen Field, that's very true.
For sure. But we're going backwards, gentlemen. We talked
would you
about
go
the
forward?
purple.
I know.
We're
I
just
know
off
we're
the
excited
future.
about 'em,
I know
though.
we're excited about the purple, as am I. You boys.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, Packers probably getting the win tonight over the Saints. Saints, better luck next year. Third game. Denver traveling to SoFi to play the Chargers. Chargers getting a win, 34-27 with a pretty big fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming, to be honest. I picked against the Chargers this
I did
week.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, the Broncos kind of they stopped running the ball in the second half. They couldn't move the ball. It was.
And why? We see this time and time again to go away from the run, especially when it's working. Sometimes I don't quite understand that. And they had the lead at half,
They did have the lead.
so I just don't understand that mentality.
Yeah, and they just started going 3 and out, and the tide kind of turned, and the Chargers, got the lead and never looked back. Really.
Yeah.
Does Bo Nix have any shot at Rookie of the Year?
Ooh, probably no. I would say.
I mean, Jaden Daniels. We'll talk about Jaden Daniels here in a couple games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess AFC wise, are we trying to split it?
Yeah,
between
if we split it.
I'm trying to think who else on the AFC side that would be qualifying for that.
Now, I feel like a dummy for asking this question, but are those awards announced before the postseason or after? Because these two
I
rookie
think it's
quarterbacks,
like Kobo area.
Yeah,
Bo
yeah. I think
Nix,
right before the
Jaden
Super
Daniels
Bowl.
will both go to the playoffs, and we'll see how they do in the playoffs. If you can go and win a playoff game in your rookie season, I think that definitely deserves an award for sure. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bo Nix is doing. I mean, he did really nothing wrong per se. He just
I
his
think
decision making.
Well, probably Bowers, tight end out of.
Oh, he's
the
playing
Raiders.
awesome too.
Yeah.
And 106 receptions on the year.
So I guess I'm trying to run through the rookies through my head right now.
I
It's like who would
suppose
compete
he
with him?
absolutely could be up there. Because he beat out a quarterback though,
Who-
and Bo Nix has been getting more consistent too.
But I think Bowers broke so many rookie records that,
He broke at least one rookie record. He's third for another one. We'll mention it.
and and he's like top 10 in receiving right now in the NFL
as a tight end,
As a
with
tight end,
receivers.
yeah.
Right, for sure.
No, he's a stud.
So
I like
I'd
that
probably
kid.
go there if I had a vote. I'd probably go Brock Bowers.
Bowers over Nix.
Yeah.
For sure. But Nix is a close second for you, maybe.
He's had a pretty solid year. He struggled a little bit. God, he had that one pass that he was way short on a wide open receiver. Did that get picked too? I'm trying to think of that play, but it was just a big play where I'm like, oh, that
can't remember
he
that.
didn't lead him. But that was one of his things in coming out of college at Oregon. He had just a lot of short routes, quick routes. Wasn't very good at the deep ball. Has a strong arm. He has
It's
NFL
just the
skill.
accuracy, the deep throw accuracy.
And then that showed up,
improve a
and
little
actually kind of that was almost the play that kind of almost, I won't say turned the tide of that game, but it was just like if you would have had that one.
I wish the Broncos would run Javonte Williams a little bit more. Did he go down with the injury? I don't think he did. He only had 4 rushes on the day. That's a guy I'd give more touches to. I mean, he was up there. He was up there last year, I believe, for them. I think he was their number 1 back. I don't know. I think this is his 3rd year in the league out of like North Carolina or something.
Who did get the touches for the Broncos? McLaughlin?
No, his name's Audric
Esteem.
Yeah, I
should've
do not know
known
much
that.
about
He
him
was
until this game.
He's a rookie.
Yeah, out of Notre
He's
Dame.
pretty good.
But they've had a carousel of running backs ever since like Terrell Davis, and then
Yeah.
after Terrell, I think they had Melvin Gordon for a minute. But they've been drafting rookies in the first, second round consistently over the last 10 years, and none of them panned out.
I think the Broncos have been really just a air raid type offense the really last 10 years because
Well,
you
yeah.
haven't really needed a stud running back when you
No,
have
and you don't-
Peyton Manning come in.
And you don't necessarily need it, and again, like looking at Javonte Williams had 7 receptions. That's what you want. You want to get your running backs involved in that quick stuff.
And I think that's what Sean Payton loves to do.
Yeah,
Just get his
and
running
that's what he
backs
did
to
with
catch
Kamara
balls
down
out of the
in
backfield.
100%.
all the he didn't have over 20 carries a ton of times.
Yeah, he was more in that a threat in that passing game.
Yep.
But as far as the Chargers go, we talked a lot about the Broncos who lost the game, but the Chargers, I kept
comeback.
calling for that running game. Well, Gus Edwards doing what he does, getting the touchdowns. You know what I mean? Closer to the. I can't remember if his long run was a touchdown, but I know one for sure is that goal line stand, and that's kind of what you want out of them.
Yeah.
I think they still missed that J.K. Dobbins effect, but they at least were able to have some sort of offensive identity this week. It seemed like.
I mean, what do you have? 12 carries, 8 carries?
Who, Gus Edwards?
Gus Edwards?
14.
14 for 48 yards.
But Herbert also ran for 8.
Yeah. So they still at least somewhat sticking with it to effectively, a little bit of play action, know, because they also don't have a ton of the receivers that are really scare me.
No, McConkey's
They're just so
coming
young,
up.
I think.
I actually saw that lad McConkey's his high school stats.
Yep.
He was a quarterback. He had 20 some touchdowns passing.
Wow.
Like 1,500 yards. I could have pulled the yardage out of my butt. I think it's more than that. But and then he also
kinda
ran
like
for another 15. He was like a dual threat quarterback.
Yep.
He was a 3-star out of some small town. You
So
know what I
kind of
mean?
like a Julian Edelman a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So I found that really interesting, and now he continues to blossom each week that goes by. So
That can be huge.
Yeah.
As far as knowing your just capability in a playbook is.
It'll be interesting what they
Fantastic.
draft. What their big thing will be next year. Is it defense or do they go for a wideout? Not after losing Keaton Allen,
Who's my running backs in
know,
the first
I think
round? That's
Harbaugh.
I just got to know who would be there.
I mean, you got the guy from Boise State, and you got the 2 running backs.
Yeah, the Chargers probably aren't going to get the guy from Boise State.
No, he's probably not. But the 2 guys
somebody's
at
gonna take a shot
Oklahoma,
on
the Ohio State.
Yeah,
They,
their whole offense really, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean that's where I feel like they need to go on that team. You know, defensively, I think they're okay.
they're okay. They have their secondary has trouble sometimes, and
You're not a Derwin James fan?
I'm a big Derwin James fan, but outside of him, it's not super awesome.
Yeah.
They're just inconsistent. So we'll see. We'll
Get
see
better.
what else they got to do. Yeah, Khalil Mack, go get a sack, buddy.
The future is bright for Chargers fans, though, for sure. I think Harbaugh knows what he's doing.
That I would agree with. I think it's a matter of time before they're going to make the playoffs this year, right? So we'll see what they got. But they got the dub over the Broncos and now jumped them slightly in that wild card race. So
AFC is still a battle.
it is still a battle, but the Chargers are feeling a little bit better about it today. But they got to win next week. Who do they play here really quick? Well, I should know that. Patriot. They finish at New England and at Las Vegas. So,
Oh, wow.
if the Chargers drop either one of those games, then they're a first round exit for me. You can't drop either one of those games.
No,
Now,
I
if you
don't-
sit your players in Week 18 because your position's locked up and you can't move up or down, then
Then
you know what I
doesn't
mean.
matter. Yeah,
Then the game against Vegas is mute. But
Yeah.
you absolutely cannot go into New England next week and lose.
I think they're one and done anyways.
There's a good chance of that.
Yeah.
There's a good chance of that. It hurts my soul. But moving on. We got the Steelers going into Baltimore. What a doozy this was. This was Saturday night, wasn't it?
It was.
Yep.
Yeah. What a game this was. 34-17. Baltimore getting the win over the Steelers.
It was tough. I wanted the Steelers to win that game so bad, but they just
That Baltimore offense. I mean, it's
they played well.
scary. That Baltimore, I mean, we keep looking at it. I'm not trying to, say that the Steelers have no shot. I'm not trying to say the Bills or the Texans have no shot. But if the Ravens played Kansas City, for the AFC Championship, hypothetically, I don't know how the seeding, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I mean, that offense might be too much for that Kansas City defense.
It,
Which has looked up rocky at times. I'm not trying to turn in Chris Collinsworth right now and just talk about Kansas City and the Chiefs. Mahomes. But, you know what I mean? But, like,
but the
that
Chiefs are
offense
pretty
ball-
good at stopping the run, and that's what I
Yeah.
think the Ravens did really effectively of taking that
did.
really high pressure defense, that blitz. If you can establish the run, they had over 200 and some yards rushing, and what he throw?
Another 200.
I know, but how many times did he pass? Yes.
Only 23 attempts.
So exactly. So where's the pass rush doesn't really have an effect. Those blitz do when you're not only passing it or throwing the ball 22 times and you're running it 30. How many 40 attempts did they have? 39, if I remember right. But
I mean, I think the Ravens did what the Steelers did not, and that was establish a run game. I mean, Najee Harris wasn't really a factor. He kind of took a backseat to Jalen Warren.
As he should at this point.
yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, Jalen Warren should probably just be getting the start, and Najee's your number 2 guy or your goal line package guy.
Exactly. And he's, like you said, he's more of your hard bruiser runner. But
Which he doesn't do much of that either anymore.
When
as much as he
he
used to.
gets 5, 6 yards, 7 yards on first down, it's usually looking good for the Steelers, but that did not happen.
yeah, they were in the game till half. That pick 6 after that was it was over.
Yep.
From Humphreys. That was a nice play by Humphreys there.
Yep.
I don't know what Russell Wilson was looking at, but
Ghosts.
yeah.
I think the Steelers need another passing option. Who's out there free agent or rookie wise next season?
I mean, they just
That-
got Mike Williams. But
but
I
Mike
think
Williams
he's a little
is
too
towards the end of his
fresh
career
in the playbook.
too.
They need 14
that
back.
too. Pickens?
Yep.
Claypool. Oh,
Okay,
I was
yeah.
like Claypool.
No.
I think he wore 10.
Like rookie Claypool, maybe. But
Hey, and
Yeah.
Claypool right now, he hasn't been playing. I think he's
I think he's
either
not even
technically
on
with the Bills or he was released.
He's
I
a
can't
free
remember.
agent.
Oh, that's right. So, but he's out there, right? If he can
Yeah.
fix whatever is going
I
on,
think
he's
he's
been
done.
working out, and I only bring him up, right?
Okay.
Because I saw a hypothetical on Facebook or whatever. I'm like, nah. And then I went to Claypool's like Insta, and I'm like checking him out and stuff. Well, looking at his videos, not checking them
watching
out.
his
You know
hype
what I mean?
videos.
Yeah. Watching his hype videos that every single player does,
Yeah.
including high schoolers that never make the league, right? But
Uh-huh.
but it's just like, dude, I don't know. If he fixes his attitude and like the whole keeping the ball thing when you guys are trying to hurry up and win a freaking game,
I remember that play.
you know what I mean?
That was hilarious.
Does Mike Tomlin even accept a guy like that back in his locker room?
No, I bet you
No.
that bridge is way burned.
Way burned, way
that
burned.
thing is gone.
Just a hypothetical. He's
Yeah.
still a big body receiver. You know what I mean? If he can, again,
He's got the talent,
runs
for
good
sure,
routes,
but I just
he
think
just he wasn't.
it's
running
all
good
up
routes
here.
in Chicago.
It's all
but
up here.
I think he's in his head. He got
after that great rookie season.
after the great rookie. Everyone was saying you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and the next
he
thing you
just
know,
took that apart.
then he was like,
Fair enough. But yeah, obviously
Let it get
George
to him.
Pickens is, being injured, but they just need another piece for me. I don't know.
I don't know what did Calvin Austin look like.
He's okay. But
Yeah.
Calvin Austin to me is a high level number 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
He's your
a
Swiss
low
Army
tier
knife,
too,
can
but-
line up in the slot.
Yeah,
can
for
line
sure.
Up outside.
But you need one of those players.
Yep.
Okay, so that's great.
But I don't necessarily think he'll take the top off the defense.
I don't
And they
think
need
so
it.
either. And now that makes me think of another guy, but he's a gadget player too. Is Deebo Samuel leaving San Fran? Could he go over there to
after
Pittsburgh?
that big contract,
Sure.
can anybody take that?
I mean, they're going
Might
to have to
need
get
it.
rid of Debo because they signed Ayuk, and then they just drafted Pearsall, and I think the 49ers
When's
got to
Brock
say
need a
goodbye
when's
to
Brock
someone.
need a contract? Does he
I
get
don't
that?
know.
I know we could go off on a whole.
Yeah.
49ers are in trouble.
Yeah.
but,
They
but
are.
interesting.
I'm just
you're
trying to
talking-
think of other receivers.
Well,
that
the
could
other
be out
receiver
there.
that was just out, and we saw that got signed by the Texans, Deontay Johnson.
Johnson,
He
yeah.
was there, and so if kind of like Tomlin, if he wanted somebody back, he's been there, familiar with him, and they just still didn't want him. So is he a cancer in the locker room?
And I was actually just talking to a Steelers fan last night, playing NCAA, of course, of
Okay.
all things. But and I actually asked him about Deontay Johnson, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'd take him back," And he's a lifelong Steelers fan. But
Yeah.
obviously Texans picked him up today.
So that's
With Tank Dell going down.
yeah.
but
So I'm surprised he
awesome.
didn't want back there versus going into a whole new offense. But he's kind of had a really weird season.
yeah, maybe I hope this is a fresh start for him. It's a really great opportunity.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
working with
I mean,
a good young quarterback too. So
Tank Dell hurt,
yeah,
Deontay Johnson
Yeah.
in.
there it is.
Yeah.
Moving to the last game of the week, probably the most exciting game of the week. I mean, the last game we just talked about was extremely exciting
Yeah.
too, but this one, I mean, coming down to the wire, Washington Commanders getting the win, 36-33 over the Philadelphia Eagles.
Asterix game.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts got hurt.
I-
That whole
Yeah.
game was completely
And
different
this
afterwards.
This just
I
proved
agree.
how valuable Jalen is.
You
to
know,
All
the
the Jalen
offense.
Hurts haters.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
for
Philly
sure.
was dominating that game in that first half.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to be over quick, and then
Yeah.
Hurts got hurt, and Barkley had that nice touchdown run after that for 60 yards. Thank you, buddy, for my fantasy win this week. I'm in the championship. Just throwing that out there.
30 carries for Barkley.
But so
I mean,
but
with
they had to
Hurts
pound the ball with
down.
Kenny Pickens now at quarterback. So I haven't
who also
seen,
went down.
I haven't seen anything.
finished.
If Hurst is coming back at all on the
Concussion
protocol
protocol, yeah.
scenario. So that could be a really interesting turn for them, because if they go a couple weeks without him, is that offense,
Not good.
kind of lose its
No.
flow and its vibe? And then
I mean, you saw when Pickett went in, the play calling completely changed.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure
they
it
strayed
does.
away from carrying the ball or running the ball, and I don't know. Pickett didn't look comfortable back
No,
there. I don't think.
for sure. And then Pickett ended up hurting his rib early in the fourth quarter, and he finished the game. But he was getting X-rays after the game. Like, oh great.
Yeah.
So now who, right? But if Pickett's okay and Jalen's not, do you feel differently about Pickett going into next week's game? With a week of number one reps under your belt, going up
Who
against
are
the
they
Cowboys.
playing? Oh, the Cowboys
In Philly.
Oh.
I mean,
The Cowboys are actually playing good football right now, despite
their defense is playing.
not making the playoffs this
they're
year.
playing
but-
okay football against crappy teams.
Yeah,
But
that's very true.
But does that change anything for you? Do you feel any better about Pickett? Like if Jalen Hurts can't go?
I mean, they still should have won that. Devontae Smith dropped a first down play
Yes,
with a
yep.
minute left in the game, and then if they catch it, that's game over.
game.
We're not
Yeah.
even talking about the Commanders winning that one. So
But they did.
they did still win it.
Jaden Daniels threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, because they had the ball the whole second half because Philly couldn't do anything with
Yeah,
it.
no, seriously.
But Jaden Daniels also got it done on the ground, 81 yards.
Yeah.
Don't get me
On
wrong,
market.
he's a stud, but I still think they're a year away.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think you asked me this earlier in the season, but do you like last year C.J. Stroud or this year Jaden Daniels better? Who's had the better?
Ooh, I would go Jaden Daniels actually.
Yeah,
Because
not including anything C.J. Stroud has done this year, just looking at what he accomplished last year, or is that skewed because you're like, oh, well, that was his rookie year too, so
I'm
he
trying
still
to
took
think
the
who-
Texans to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who had the better roster. I guess the complementary
that's
pieces.
tough.
'Cause-
Got to be almost even.
yeah, so it's probably pretty even. But Jaden Daniels is probably having a historical rookie year, and we just got off of C.J. Stroud's historical rookie year. So
Right. That's what I mean. That's a tough call.
I'd flip
I
a
don't have an
coin and give it
answer.
to Daniels. Daniels, I think overall has just got a whole different X factor right now.
Dom
I
said
agree.
he's buying a Jaden Daniels jersey
I
off
would-
DHgate, but he's buying one.
Yeah, I would give it to Jaden Daniels too. He's already at 10 wins, which what
He is.
CJ Stroud got last year to win the division was 10-7.
And they were in a weak division last
Yeah,
year.
exactly. And the AFC South doesn't even come close to the NFC East.
And Washington-
that's just my opinion.
And Washington has Falcons this week, and then they got to travel to Dallas for the last game of the season.
Jaden's going to have to learn to play in a tough division. The Cowboys will be right there. The Eagles will be right there, depending on what the Giants do with their quarterback situation. Yeah, I would give it to Jaden 1,000%. I think he's completely turned it around.
Completely turned it
Yeah,
around.
I think
All
he's
right,
given
all right,
the
fair enough.
Commanders confidence, and I think Cliff Kingsbury has given that whole offense
I think
confidence.
he's been a big change.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. I like Dan
Oh,
Quinn
yeah.
too, but I think Kingsbury for
I
sure
think Kingsbury's really
is
helped him.
molding
Yes.
Daniels
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
Which
I
should,
think he
which should
works
be a
with him
concern
two
for the
peas in a
NFC
pod.
East for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
The original horse QB whisperer.
The original QB whisperer.
That's what they were saying about him back in the day. That's what he was when when he went to Arizona with Murray. That he was the QB god.
Don't even get me
And he
started on
had some
Murray
good
this week.
years. They started out 9-0 that one year. Kind of had a fall off, but still, they were playing their best football for 9 weeks.
But what a great win though. That all but solidifies it's not official yet, but they're sitting right there in that last NFC wildcard spot. And there'd have to be a lot of crazy stuff to happen.
Yeah.
If they can win one of their last two, I believe they would probably clinch the spot.
Yeah,
then.
they just need
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I'd imagine it's all but rote for the Commanders, who would then probably potentially be going to play the Philadelphia Eagles
Yeah, that would be
round
a game.
1, right? 7 plays 2.
Yep.
If they end at 7, which unless the Packers, they'll lose this week, so who knows? Washington could jump the Packers. So
Yeah.
But the Packers might have the tiebreaker in strength of schedule,
true.
which is not even a tiebreaker. I just
Or
made
do you?
that
Or
up.
is it tiebreaker on strength of schedule or conference record first?
It's like way down on the list.
Okay.
I totally
All
made
right.
all that up.
Trying to confuse me.
Yeah.
I guess I don't really know how it works either.
I think they go conference schedule or
Okay.
conference record.
Well,
first.
head to head, then it goes conference record.
Yeah, yeah. And did
That-
the Packers play the Commanders this year? Let me
No,
take a
they-
look.
I don't
Then a
think they
third,
did,
I
no.
think, is it?
They did not. So the Commanders would get the tiebreak though, because the Packers do not have a great conference record. They are
2-2.
they're 5-4 in the conference.
Ooh, all
and,
their
Wa-
losses
and
in the
Washington is
NFC,
7-3 in the conference. So more wins.
Yeah, but
We'll see.
Yeah, if
There's
Packers win tonight, and then I guess Washington loses next week, they'd be equal then.
That's
Yep.
true. Yeah. So who knows? They could flip flop.
Yeah, it's still
Yep.
But let's
Doesn't
hope,
matter
let's
to
hope they
affect
do,
us.
because the Packers are going to lose in Philadelphia then. But
So
anyway,
we're gonna have bye week anyways.
right, Vikes win. Yeah.
Vikes win.
Anyway, Kev, with that, let's head right into tent talk.
911, what's your emergency?
And starting off with the tent talk, of course, we got injuries.
He hurt.
Tank Dell, torn ACL and dislocated kneecap.
That was gross. Don't look at it.
Yeah, do not. Yeah, viewer discretion advised. Sent straight to the hospital. I think he was even having surgery like immediately, type of deal. So, not good.
I just saw the picture of CJ Stroud crying
Dude,
in
it's-
anger. I was like, I don't even need to see any more of that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Jalen Hurts in concussion protocol, as we talked about. Pickett injures his rib early in the fourth, but he stayed in the game. But he was seen going to the X-ray room immediately after the game. So, who knows who's playing quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles this week? Chris Jones.
Probably Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yes, yes. Good call.
The replacements.
Chris Jones, D tackle for Kansas City, Has a strained calf. Used to get an MRI. I don't know the results of the MRI. I'm not his doctor, but that's a guy that changes that defense for Kansas City. So
Yeah, he controls
as long
the
as
run
he's
game.
good for the playoffs. You know what I mean? Basically, if Buffalo loses one more game, that seals the 1 seed for Kansas City. So if that happens, I would just shut him down anyway and just let him heal that calf up and get ready for that.
Well, wouldn't it if the
divisional game.
Chiefs win one more game? Is
They probably.
they
Yeah,
seal
same
that?
thing, same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see.
And Patrick Mahomes did not look like he had a high ankle sprain.
No, he played fine. He's getting it looked at again, I read today, but he'll be fine. Bears left tackle Braxton Jones. This was also a really bad one. He had bad ankle injury. Don't look that one up either. Not good. Done for the season. Rams tight end Tyler Higbee returned from an ACL tear that he suffered last year's playoffs. He ends up getting a touchdown in his only reception.
Hey,
week.
another weapon to help that team.
Yeah, welcome back,
For
Tyler
sure.
Higbee.
We already mentioned Packers tight end Luke Musgrave returns tonight, so we'll see how that goes. And then one thing I saw, Josh Allen actually played through a fractured left hand. He fractured it in week 1, and it wasn't really better for a number of weeks. So he was playing with a fractured hand that just kind of came out today. He kept hitting the injury report, but it just said, no, it didn't go into detail on what it was. Turns out it was a fractured hand. So wildness. Moving along to the news here. Deontay Johnson, as we mentioned, finally released by the Ravens after they both mutually agreed to split ways for the week, and then now has been released and already picked up by the Texans, obviously with Tank Dell down for the season.
They need him.
Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, may have interest in the Bears job.
Do you think that he was messing with them on that one play, that fumble play?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yes. Yeah. And then I saw something today that the Packers did that last year.
Oh, did they?
But allegedly. But, like, to me, the Packers one looked more like legit, like Jordan Love fumbled the freaking ball and was able to pick it up and then huck it. Like, that actually looked like a real fumble to me, not planned. But everybody's saying, oh, the Packers did it first, so I don't know. But I thought that was funny.
It was pretty cool play.
comical.
And Gibbs diving on the ground even
Just
sold
sells
it.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
when I first saw that highlight, I'm like,
What is he diving on the
what
ground
is
for?
this? Laporta's wide open. Throw
you
it
see
to
the
him.
second level, they kind of paused and go, "What the heck?" And that was
Just too
perfect.
late after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Lions just having fun out there.
Yeah, they are.
And it should be concerned for the rest of the NFC. Lions absolutely a favorite to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. Brock Bowers becomes the third tight end to exceed 1,000 yards. He's the first rookie tight end to hit 100 receptions as well. So, like you said, Brock Bowers just putting his name in the record books, perhaps putting his name on AFC offensive.
Georgia Bulldogs
Rookie of the
dog right there.
For sure.
He's been a heck
And he
of
was
a
doing
tight
that
end.
at Georgia, too.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely
he was just
was.
running guys over.
But now you look at a guy like Kyle Pitts in the same position, drafted high like that, you're like, what's up with him?
Yeah.
The guy can't
point.
catch a cold.
Good point. Ravens clinch a playoff spot this week, but that division still kind of up for grabs now between the Steelers and the old Ravens.
So the Steelers got the tiebreaker on that one?
They're 1-1 now.
They have the
Yeah, so they
conference
split
record,
it.
So yeah, they split. Do they go by how many points scored in that? Like the point differential of those two games? Then
No,
is that the third thing?
No,
or
this
does it
is
go
not
straight to
soccer.
conference? Hey man, hey. Well,
We're not at the World Cup right now.
Well, I guess for the division lead, it would go by the division record.
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
that's be the first tiebreaker.
So and they're both 3-2. So I don't know.
Well, then it goes to conference.
So then at the moment, Pittsburgh does have it
Yeah, so that's probably why
by
they're-
one game.
Yeah.
So again, that could change.
Yeah.
But they opened that door up by not winning in Baltimore. So anyway,
Let them ride.
let them ride. Penix ended up getting the start over Kirk Cousins. Kirk O'Chain.
And he looked okay, actually. You know, and I'll give
looked
Michael
okay.
Penix an okay grade.
What's it? What is the grade then?
He did well. That pick was not on him. It was actually a drop that bounced up in the air. So he was played very conservative. He had a lot of throws in the middle of the field. That's where he was really accurate. I think he was like 11 out of 11 in the middle of the field. Then he went like 4 for 8 on the outside. He didn't really push the ball down the field. But also, I don't think they have they don't really have a receiver that pushes the ball. You know, Drake London's not a speedster.
Darnell Mooney, not really either per
Mooney-
se. He was the
thought he
Bears
was gonna be
downfield
more,
threat
but
when he was there. But
They don't feel like they really use him that way. Bichon looks nice.
I love Bijan. He's a huge part of their offense.
I think this was a perfect game to get Penix in.
I guess, yeah.
And
Worst team in the league. This is kind of a perfect kind of.
But some argue that's a perfect game
starter.
too, to keep Kirk in there, or were you just over Kirk at that point?
Last week was a perfect game to keep Kirk in there against the
True.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
great point.
second
Great point. Yeah.
worst team
and he
in
still
the
wasn't
league.
doing it.
And only scored 15 points. So I think that torn Achilles is doing a lot more damage than we think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like the same in the pocket. Even I remember talking week 1. Remember when they had 0 play actions?
Oh, when Matt was just breaking it down heavy for us
Yeah.
with the Achilles. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
He's just
Fire
different
up.
team, but
Fire up.
Congratulations, Penix. Good job.
Yeah. Good look, Penix. With that, Kev, let's head right into Bonehead Move of the week.
Genius.
And of course, Bonehead Move of the week. Not a lot necessarily transpired this week, as far as I know, I guess. I don't know. But the big thing that I did notice that, I don't know, I'm 50-50 on it. Arizona Cardinals losing this week, so out of playoff contention.
Yep.
Trey McBride is coming off the field. And obviously, people are recording with their phones or whatever. I don't know if this was a phone. I don't know if this was a reporter or what. But Trey McBride walks by, and he's just voicing his frustration out in the open, saying how the Cardinals are a sorry effing team.
Ooh.
So this Trey McBride, like, I get it, right? You just missed the playoffs, and they lost to
Panthers.
Carolina. I mean, are you just frustrated you lost to Carolina? Are you frustrated you're out of the playoffs? Is it all the above? Are you frustrated that you don't have a freaking touchdown this season?
No,
You know what I
Probably
mean? He doesn't.
No.
So
Well, like any receiver that plays with a type of quarterback that likes to linger in the pocket for a while, you run a perfect route and you're wide open and you don't get the ball. That can get very frustrating after a while. And then you start running that route less harder, not as precise, because you're like, I'm not getting the ball,
that's why I'm 50-50 on it being Bonehead, right? Like, the Bonehead part is vocalizing that where cameras are running and everybody can capture everything you say and then run with it like we are. We're the media.
Yeah.
Look at us. But no, seriously. That's the Bonehead part. Now, I can understand the frustrating part, you know what I mean? And, Cardinals have been trying to get up, and this was a great year to maybe potentially even have an opportunity to win the division, and they just let it slip out of their hands. They were in the division lead when they were 6-4, I think.
Yeah, they were 6-4. Now
they drafted in the top 10 last year, so that was the
Picked up
type
Marvin.
that was the type of team they had going into it. So I think that technically they probably almost exceeded my expectations of how they were going to do this year.
But do you think this is it for Trey McBride? Is he too frustrated right now with Arizona, or is this just end of season frustration and don't read into it?
I think he just lost the playoff game. They got kicked off the playoff game and he was pissed.
Yeah. And I mean, Carolina hasn't laid down
No.
by any means against any team. They've been
They
maybe
haven't,
playing their
no.
best football
Bryce
the past
Young.
3
Bryce Young,
weeks.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, the guy
He's
is
been
what
playing
happened.
awesome.
So maybe that's what they're trying to do with Kirk.
They're
Bench
playing-
him and then he comes back like that.
I think Dave Canales has had a slow start with Carolina, and he's finally finding his footing with Bryce and that Carolina team. And I think they're starting to play with some confidence and really liking Brian as their head coach.
Yeah, I think Arizona ran into buzzsaw this week.
Yeah,
They did. No, they did. Don't get me wrong, but Trey, I think this is league wide now. He's tied for 7th in the league for receptions. At 92. 17th at yards, 958. But then, that big fat 0 in the touchdown department. I mean, is that a factor for you? Like, if he were to leave, I'd imagine 31 other teams would be interested in bringing him on.
Oh yeah,
But, or is that touchdown thing a factor for you? Or is it just Kyler's just not looking his way in the red zone?
I don't think Kyler's a very good quarterback in the red zone. No disrespect to
just in
Kyler,
general.
but they kind of ran heavily on the run game this year. James Conner and drafting Trey Benson, which they should have.
Yep.
Which completely the right choice.
Who's been injured all year long.
But I mean, to
It's
be
just
fair,
not injured all year, but-
inefficiency in the red zone.
To be fair, Trey McBride only had 3 touchdowns last year and 1 the year before too. So it's not like he's a touchdown machine.
No.
So maybe he's bad in the red zone. With the combination of Kyler not being the best, I trust my eyes, red zone
Exactly,
thought
yeah.
process, that I could see because Kyler likes scrambling around.
He does.
You know,
he does.
some of his greatest plays has usually been in the red zone where he's just extended the play forever and then found a guy. You know,
I really feel like he's not going anywhere. They're not going to move a guy like that. I totally expect Trey McBride to be playing for the Arizona Cardinals next
Just
year.
frustrated.
Hopefully, him and Kyler can maybe get together this offseason, though.
Yeah.
and play a little COD.
That's probably. Yeah, there you go. Play a little COD.
Yeah, I expect Jonathan Gannon to sit down with him and say, hey, you're third-year guy. You were our first overall pick not that long ago. We need you to be a leader. Just something to that avail.
Yeah. I feel you. With that, Kev, let's head right to our Week 17 preview and picks. And to start off our preview and picks, first off, little update. Packers are up right now 7-0, but by the time you listen to this, the Packers would probably have won. So I don't know why I just did that.
Or loss.
So, or lost. That would be great for us. Might as well. I'm 1-3 on my picks this week.
Do you
so
want
they
them
might
to
as well
lose just because for your picks or just because they're the Packers?
I wanted them to win for my picks because I went 1-3 this week, but like looking at the Vikings bigger picture, we need them to lose.
Yeah.
So
Do we really need them to lose?
yeah, well, we're gonna beat them next week, so I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
not.
Yeah, so-
but it would be nice for them to lose. But anyway, just quick.
Just crush all their hopes. I get it.
Right,
I
right,
get
yeah,
it.
correct. They've crushed ours before.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we've
Why
been
you have to
down
rip that
road.
Band-Aid off? I thought it was
I know.
completely healed.
I know. Sorry. I know. I'm here for you next week too. Yeah. Just real quick. I'm not going to update much because, again, that game's going on, so I don't have a full update for you. But at the moment, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that went 3-1 last week. And if the Packers win, everybody picked the Packers for us. So if the Packers win, we're gonna have 7 4-1s this week.
Holy
I will not be one of them.
No, Rob and I are both 1-3 at the moment until we figure out the outcome of the Packer game. so the
Broncos
best we can
game.
do is 2-3.
I know.
Awesome,
I know.
awesome. And here we are thinking and we're gonna fall down that leaderboard too, by the way. But anyway,
Yeah.
Jake and Matt both went 2-2 at the moment. Dom also in that 2-2 mark, and so is D'Angelo. Yeah, we don't even need to put that up, Kev. That's not even completed, my guy. That's from last week. Right, we're in week 17. Oh yeah, but still, that the leaderboard on the right is not correct. So that's not ideal to have that up right now.
I think our fans at home, they have enough time. They can get the calculator out.
Yeah,
and punch
yeah,
it
no,
up,
not
figure it out,
even worth
you know?
looking
if
at.
you
but,
want
you know,
to.
We'll have a good update for you on our leaderboard next week. If I had to take a shot in the dark, it is probably still Dan. Actually, it will still be Dan, since
go.
Jake went 2-2, Tyler went 3-1, but Dan also went 3-1 at the moment. So
Got a legend in the
Dan is
studio.
probably still going to be our leader
Yes.
next week.
Let's go.
Skull to the bull, right?
Yeah. Skull.
So with that, our first game of the week is a doozy. Packers at the Vikings. I'm going Vikings. I've already said that all day, so I don't need to explain. Anyway,
Are you going to go to this game?
no.
No.
That, that's going to be money.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
gonna cost money.
It's
And Detroit, the
expensive.
Detroit tickets right now are crazy.
In Detroit?
I bet.
No, that's here, isn't it?
No.
no, that's right. They beat us here. No, I
Yeah,
must be thinking about this
unfortunately.
game, the Packer game.
This usually always probably the biggest selling ticket. When I had season
Minnesota, yeah.
season ticket holder, this was the one game I'd always sell because you could get 5 games worth. Because the Packers, we're so close. I think we're 400 miles away from Green Bay.
Yeah,
so
that stadium will be filled.
we
with
travel.
green and
They
purple
travel
and-
pretty well.
Well,
over
and
here.
actually, I saw something kind of messed up. So this game got flexed, and I saw something from a pack. Oh, I'll tell you guys what these tickets are going.
we got flexed to the 3 o'clock.
They got
game.
flexed to the 3
Yeah.
o'clock game. So there's Packer fans, right, that
So
had already
Tony-
booked their
Tony
flights.
announcing
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Well, we
to
don't
fly
care about
out.
them.
I know,
Why
but
do you
it
need
is kind
flights?
of bogus.
Take a
It is
road
kind of
trip.
bogus.
Come on, yeah.
But if you are flying, right, and you plan on leaving after the game, well, now the game's starting when your flight's supposed to take off. That's kind of annoying.
Oh.
Good.
Right? You know what I
Good.
mean?
True,
But-
yeah.
Tickets.
So I will give a couple
Uh-oh.
Packer fans that are flying in for that game the benefit of the doubt there. Rob doesn't care about you.
I
turns
do
out.
not care about you at all, especially
anyway.
when it's Packers week.
Anyway, at the moment, those tickets for the cheap seats, like nosebleeds, $475
Oh,
a piece right
Merry
now for
Christmas and a
Vikings
Happy
versus
New
Packers.
Year.
It used to just be the without the 4 at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
75.
A regular season game is about 60 to 75 up there, but
Oh
yeah,
my
we're talking
gosh.
475.
Yeah,
So,
but it'll be warm up there. It won't be outside.
it will.
So,
Yeah.
it will. So,
My goodness.
Rob, who you going?
oh, I got Vikings all day
All
long
day.
in this game.
All day.
Yeah, I think it's always a divisional game, so I'm not going to say we're going to blow them out at any point.
No,
because,
absolutely not.
The
Be a
Packers
tough
are
one.
playing
That'd be a
really good
mistake.
ball right now. Their offense is looking really well. I think Jordan Love is fully healthy from that groin probably 5 weeks ago.
I would agree. He
He's
looks good.
definitely looks like he's stepping into a lot of throws, even though he has that kind of that fadeaway Aaron Rodgers look. I feel like he got that from Aaron Rodgers
He
watching him
probably
in
did.
practice. So I think it's a good competitive game, but I think it's gonna be at home. The crowd's gonna be rocking, so our 12th man, or we need to come up with a cool name for that.
For
Yeah.
our
Come on,
12th,
Viking-
our version of 12th
Vikings
man.
marketing team. We need you. We need something.
Something new.
I mean, you got the-
trendy.
The Norse Village? No,
Yeah,
that's stupid.
I mean, the skull.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think both teams are coming in healthy, and I think it's just gonna be a good old battle.
Oh, it's gonna be a
a
good
battle, and I love it.
Yeah,
Good
it's
old
gonna be a
battle.
good
Dan,
game.
who we got?
Maybe we'll go live.
I got
that
the
game.
Vikings.
No.
It's gonna make me a little nervous though because the Packers are a good team. Plus, we're going into Detroit next week. So, do you go all out for this game, try to win this game, and then maybe get beat up
yes.
going to Detroit?
Well-
And then
Ivan Pace is back. I
I
think
know.
he's gonna be the difference maker against the
Yeah.
run.
I'm just concerned because it's 2 really tough games in a row. And I know it helps
Well, his
playing
practice
Green Bay
window
at
is
home.
open. Hopefully he's back. But
I do think we get this done, but it's going to be a very close game. I think we have to turn over J Love a few times in order to get it done, which we're very capable of doing. So, give me the Vikes.
Yeah.
give you the Vikes.
Yeah.
We got Vikes across the board for most that have got
Ooh,
me. their
even the
picks
Packers
back.
fans?
No, I was getting to them. Those clowns. Tyler and Ben are in-house Packer fans. Went with the Packers, and so did D'Angelo.
Oh,
The Lions fan.
Oh.
Unbelievable. What a joke.
he just
D'Angelo,
wants the next week game
unbelievable.
to not matter. That's
Like,
why.
correct, correct. That's why I told him, I was like, oh, okay, so you got to take the Packers this week so you can take the Vikes next week.
Yeah.
And he sent me a GIF and all this, and he's like, that's not happening, and blah, blah, blah. So he's a big Vikings fan at heart. We know it.
I think he is.
So, yeah, anyway, next game. Chiefs at Steelers. Chiefs could lock up the 1 seed. Steelers could keep trying to win that division this week with a win. Oh, yeah, I started last time.
You did. I'm
technically,
going
so-
Chiefs. I'll start it off. If
Go for it.
Pickens doesn't play, I definitely don't think the Steelers are going to be able to keep up with them. After watching them last week without a deep threat, I know their defense will keep them there. Fitzpatrick's flying all over the field. TJ Watt is looking nice and stuff like that. So I don't know if they'll give enough problems to the Chiefs.
Yeah, and we don't know yet about Pickens. He said, quote, I hope so.
And this-
it depends on how I feel, and that's from like a Steelers fan page.
And do we have Hollywood Brown? Is he going to be back for this game?
I thought he played
That's a
last
good
week.
question. I
Well,
don't
you know,
know.
even like just
hasn't
fully,
been
like running
healthy
full
all
reps
year,
in
has he?
NFL shape a little bit.
No, last week would have been his first game. Did he even
Okay,
play
yep.
last week? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had 5 receptions for 45 yards last
Wow.
week.
Yeah, so another week of him. I think I think he's gonna be the X factor of this game. I'm just gonna go out on the limb and say that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like that.
Dan, what we got?
Um,
Everybody's gone Chiefs so far.
I'm going to be the odd man out and go Steelers.
There we go.
Okay. There we go.
I don't know why. I just feel like this is just going to be like a weird game, especially for like people that aren't Chiefs fans. They're like, this doesn't really feel like Chiefs playing Chiefs football.
Okay.
I really think the Steelers are going to have a good game plan to kind of contain Mahomes. I think the safety play has a lot to do with how Mahomes does, and I think Fitzpatrick is as good as there is in the
I would
NFL.
agree with that.
I think Mike Tomlin will have a really good game plan, and I think they have a sour taste in their mouth from getting beat 17 by the Ravens. So
Last week, ooh.
I really
Can I
do-
change my pick now? I want to go
I think-
Steelers just because the great Daniel over here is.
Has
I don't know.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a more off game for the Chiefs than it is going to be a good game for the Steelers, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
give me the
I-
Steelers.
Give you the Steelers.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on that train. I do hope George Pickens plays, but right now it's seriously 50-50 up in the air right now if he's going to play. I agree with you. I think they need that downfield threat, and he's the biggest one
They need
have,
something.
The only one they have. So, but I don't know. The Chiefs have just been so sus all year. Somehow they're 14-1.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're battle tested. The Chiefs are going to make a deep playoff run. We know that. When I chose this lineup of games, I already planned on probably going Steelers because I knew a lot of people wouldn't anyway, and I kind of need to climb up that better
make
with the
some
boys
ground up.
leaderboard.
Yeah. Drink to that.
But I think Chris Jones would be a big miss if he doesn't play for them.
True, that's probably almost the other aspect. You know, the Steelers, if he doesn't play,
If
And that's
Najee can
also
get
up in the
going.
air at the moment. Let me just see here. Since it's my pick, let me see what we got for Chris Jones.
Now you got to do a little
don't worry, we'll
research.
Yeah,
huh?
why don't you
Okay.
guys just wait a minute here? Chris Jones, DJ Humphries as out of practice again today. DJ Humphries also out of practice, but either way, it doesn't change what I'm doing. Steelers gonna get the dub.
Cool.
Steelers getting the dub. Ravens at Texans. Also, the only other person to take the Steelers, our other season leader, Tyler. So
see?
interesting. Do you need to change your pick, Rob?
No, I'm not sticking to my guns. I'm gonna stick to my guns.
All right. Ravens at Texans. Ravens coming off that great win. Texans right now, let me just pull this up. I had it here. Let me just pull up the old playoff standings here.
This should be a really fun game. I really want to see this Texan
Yes.
defense against the Ravens.
Yeah,
You know?
This should be a fun game.
And that's exactly why I'm going to go with the Texans. Again, Baltimore feeling themselves a little bit, but this plays into the bit of the Steelers are going to win this week. Baltimore's going to lose. Steelers will end up winning the division. But, in my opinion, that offense for Baltimore is just potent and it's scary. But I agree with you. I mean, the pass rush, if they can at least stop the run and force the Ravens to have to start passing the ball more.
Which we thought the Steelers needed to do last week.
Which they didn't.
Yep.
Right. But so I think Texans will have a better time at that. I like the Texans defense a little bit more than the Steelers. It's not by a lot. I think the Texans defense is a lot less experienced, I guess, in a way. But I don't know. They're just more scary to me. And now Tank Dell on the offensive side, losing him is a big loss. But I think Joe Mixon is healthy. Let me make sure.
Well, I mean, he played last week, but he hasn't had a really. Last couple of weeks, he's kind of been.
And Baltimore shut down
Yeah.
the Steelers' run. So,
Well, but everyone,
Warren would get a couple here and there, but
the Steelers, have they really been running the ball really, really well?
No, I wouldn't say
I mean,
all
they're like
year.
middle of the
I
pack
wouldn't say all
style
year
of
they have.
more statistically. I mean, has either of them had over 100?
Maybe they'd be over that hump if Fields was still in, but no, not with
Yeah,
Wilson.
and the rushing aspect.
But
of
if
it.
the Texans are going to be this perennial playoff team with C.J. Stroud and building this defense up, this is a game they got to win. This is a game you have to show.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You know, not just the league, but yourselves. You know
that you belong.
that exactly. Yes, that you belong.
belong.
This is where you belong.
It is. It's like a playoff game. Like I was saying, like the Vikings playoff started last week. Seattle, Packers, Lions.
For
and then we
sure.
go into the
For
playoffs.
sure.
Yes.
So, and those are all probably playoff teams-ish. So, like, this is literally probably the Texans, like, hey, do we belong? You know, are we a contender in this division? So,
I'm the only one to take the Texans, by the way.
oh, yeah, I'm going to join
moment.
you, though, because I think the Texans are at home. This is a game they need to win, you know. Even though secretly I probably think the Ravens are going to win, but I'm going to pick the Texans.
Hey, we need to move up the leaderboard, man.
I think I'm on the. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to be middle of the pack the rest of the year.
Me too. Dan, what we got?
I'm going to go to the Ravens. I think the win over the
Safe pick.
Steelers was
Whatever.
a statement.
Statement.
And yeah, I just think they're too much for the Texans. Not to say that the Texans aren't a bad team. They're just in a crappy division in the AFC. I do think they win that division, or they've already clinched the division.
yeah.
But
All
I
right.
just think the
division,
Ravens are
weakish
just
division.
too much
I'm gonna
right now.
pick Daniel's great football mind here. How would you rank the top 3 AFC teams? Bills, Chiefs, Ravens.
I would go Chiefs number 1, Bills number 2, and then Ravens number 3. Probably because the diversity of Josh Allen versus Lamar. I think Josh can throw and run. And I think the Chiefs are capable of shutting down either one of the Bills or the Ravens' pass game or running game. So, yeah, I just think the Bills are just a little bit better than the Ravens in that aspect.
All right, Banter the Boys fans, if you're listening to that, best picker of the week if you're going to Vegas this week.
Yeah, he's our leader. So, yeah, I think I'd have to swap the Bills and Chiefs around.
Oh, you think Bills are number 1? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Chiefs could very well get it and get the first round bye.
I mean, I would agree with you
Bills
if
right
if it came to regular season, but in the postseason, I think the Chiefs are number 1.
true.
But,
Yeah,
I'm going Chiefs, Ravens, Bills.
I'm all putting Bills 3.
I don't, for some reason I don't believe. I know Josh Allen's there, and I think he's the X factor that even puts him in that top
Has he
3.
done anything in the playoffs since that first matchup between him and Mahomes, which was crazy?
I know, but
since then,
yeah, no, I feel like once winter hits, it's just a little bit different, and that ball gets a little bit colder. And if James Cooks doesn't establish the running game, I think the Bills are not a team to really, So, but unless they're at home too.
I agree with you because once they got rid of Diggs, they really kind of leaned on James Cook and kind of went to that running game, and it worked. And it has been working considering all the points they've been scoring. But
so you're still gonna
if they can't lean on that, then look out. Because
could either of you name the Bills' top receiver right now?
It's gonna be
I don't think it's a
Amari
receiver.
Cooper,
I think it's a.
I don't know who is. Like you're saying, who's leading in
Dawson
receptions or
Knox,
yards or
Dalton
something?
Kincaid, probably.
No, he was out for like 3-4 weeks.
Is it Keon
And I had him
Coleman?
in fantasy, so like
I like Coleman.
I think it's like
I do too.
spread around. Like Shakir,
Yep.
Coleman, like Johnson. That running back's having a nice couple of weeks.
Johnson.
Trey, 25.
Shakir's actually leading in yards.
Yeah, I know.
He's leading in yards.
Shakir's leading in
Wow.
yards. Yeah, he's also leading in receptions by
goodness.
30 plus.
So Shakir
Who's
by
second?
far.
Is it Kincaid?
Yeah, Kincaid is second.
Yeah.
But how many touchdowns does Shakir have?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Matt
Pick it up.
Collins has 5, but he had that crazy game. And then Ty Johnson, the
yeah, I
running back,
forgot
has
about
3
Matt
receiving touchdowns.
Matt
He's tied for 3rd for receiving touchdowns on the team with
So you
Coleman.
take away Diggs, the X factor, that number 1 receiver type of guy. But this is kind of the thing Josh Allen can do. You can kind of surround him with a little bit then above mediocre talent. No disrespect to any of the Bills' offensive players, but that's what Josh Allen is capable of
They're
doing.
gonna write
Is,
you some hate mail.
is elevating the play of those guys because he's just that good. I think. So
Hey, you're the league leader. I'm going with
we're
whatever you
listening
say
to you,
right now.
dude.
okay, all right. I mean, it's pretty much what they're doing with Mahomes. I mean, he's got D-Hop now, but before then, it was just not crap receivers, but
Tyreek
nobody
Hill.
you could really name, and Mahomes' play just elevates them.
For sure. Next game, Broncos at Bengals.
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 They are hot right now. And, Joey Burrow is on point right now. I
That
think
fumble was bad last week, but
it was,
other
but
than that-
also the diving throw into the end zone for a touchdown was pretty sweet too. So pick one or the other. I think the Bengals are they're on fire right now, and the Broncos. I think defensively they're better than offensively, and I don't think their defense is going to be able to contain the Bengals all day long.
are the Broncos a first-round exit if they make the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah, you feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Bo Nix. I mean, they're going to be playing on the road, so that's kind of tough for a rookie quarterback to go in and be on a at-road atmosphere.
Unless the matchup's perfect for them. I
Exactly,
mean,
yeah.
probably against the Chiefs would be their best matchup because they're
Broncos?
so familiar with them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because they should have beat them earlier this year. They had
Yes.
that blocked field goal.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Who you got, Dan? Bengals or Broncos?
I'm going to go Broncos. Yeah, I'm going to go Broncos. This is going to be a very high-scoring affair, just like
yes, we
how a
game
lot
back
of
there.
Bengals games have been very high-scoring games. I think the Broncos defense at the end will get it done. I think they're going to get torched right away, like you said, Rob.
Yeah,
But I think Bonito,
he's so good.
he's so good. I think he's going to get to Joe a few times towards the end of the game and give the Broncos the win. It's going to be like a 33-30 game.
Ooh. 33-30 game.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Kind of changed my pick.
I'm also going Broncos.
You're going Broncos too?
I am.
You're really trying to make up some ground.
Yeah, you're darn right. Matt, Graham, Trey, Dan, we know. All went Broncos. Everybody else has gotten Bengals at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of riding the Bo Nix train. I think he's been
After the loss?
consistent enough. Yeah, even after the loss. I mean, they're prepping for the playoffs. The Bengals are not. I mean, the Bengals are not
They're technically
mathematically
still
eliminated. But
Yeah.
they're
But this win over the Broncos would put them within a game, and then the Broncos finish up with the Chiefs.
which is tough. But are the Chiefs going to be playing anybody?
Yeah, true. Once they get
That
to that
is
You
true.
know,
15
You know,
wins,
so I don't,
that-
I don't know. You know what I mean? So, and right now the Broncos are in that last spot. Right behind them, Colts at 7-8. Broncos are 9-6. Dolphins at 7-8, and then the Bengals at 7-8. The
And
Bengals
but-
are the last, team still in the race.
But the Bengals must have the tiebreaker over the Broncos if they're still eligible. Because they only can tie the record, right?
I
Mathematically?
mean, right? Yeah, correct.
So they have the
Yeah.
tiebreaker then
Yep.
if they're still eligible.
Sure. I just don't think the Bengals are gonna. I mean, even if they win this week, I don't think the Bengals make the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Did the Dolphins win this?
Not with the way
They
that
did.
defense
Yeah,
has
so
been
the
playing.
the Dolphins are right there
Holy
too.
moly.
Colts won big this week, but I can't remember who they played. The Titans. I think.
They almost came back.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they were up big. Excuse me.
Against
Yeah.
a
Good
non-Will
point.
Levis. It was a
Will
Rudolph the
Levis-less.
Red-Nosed Reindeer
Yeah.
playing quarterback there.
Yep.
He was playing well too.
Old Mason. That a point, Mason.
Falcons at Commanders. Let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly. That is correct. Nobody has taken the Falcons in Washington, where the Commanders had just beat Philly on a great end of the game play. That's why I'm going with the Falcons and Michael Penix.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Taking a chance here. I think the Commanders are going to kind of come off this really, really high, which is fine. The Commanders are going to make the playoffs, most likely. Even if they lose this game, I still see the Commanders making the playoffs, probably being that last team. But it's, I don't know, Michael Penix and Bijan going to get it done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Daniel, I want to so I can steal his pick. So
I'm gonna go Commanders. This is gonna be too much for Michael.
Probably. I mean,
He faced
those
a-
fans are going to be excited.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He faced the worst team in the league and is coming back and facing a playoff team. It's gonna be too much for him. I don't think the Commanders have great defense by any means, but I know Marshawn Lattimore is gonna be playing, so that's gonna kind of seal down some of his weapons in the passing game. I know
Bijan's going to go for 120.
I know Penix has a lot of weapons, but like I said, it's going to be too much. It's going to be in Washington. Commanders are feeling themselves.
Dang, too bad Kirk's
Washington.
not playing that
I
game
know.
at Washington, too. He's got to feel some type of way about that.
Yeah.
If
Kirk
Kirk will
was-
never tell you
True.
he does.
yeah, if Kirk was playing, I'd actually go with the Falcons. But you know what? I'm still going with the Falcons.
Wow.
You know,
We're
All
both
right.
going 1-3 next week, or 1-4 next week.
that's fine. It's like every other week.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna. I still think it's gonna be a really good game. I think the Falcons
Oh, yeah.
can still run the ball on Washington. Washington, like you're saying, defense doesn't scare anybody. No. Atlanta's still got a decent defensive squad too.
They're fighting to win the division.
But it's not. Yeah, but now it's the X factor. Is it Jalen Daniels makes those plays at the end, or the new rookie Michael Penix? I'd like to see him in a high pressure scenario. Last week he didn't. They got up early after the Bates' pick
Exactly.
6, and they were up 17-7. So I feel like the play calling went a lot of safe calling. They didn't really have to push the ball down the field, and Giants just couldn't move the ball at all anymore. So.
But
Nice.
if Falcons win, and if the Rams lose, there's a chance that now they could go up, one more slot into the 3 seed instead, too. So there's still more to play for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Yes, the division obviously still very much on the line. But, with the Rams playing the Cardinals and then Seattle yet, there's still a chance that the Falcons could just climb climb up into that 3 seed even.
They could.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give a little round of applause to the NFL schedule makers. They've, had a lot of good matchups, and then I like how these division, matchups at the finish of the season, the Vikings and the Lions, competing for the number 1 seed.
But Atlanta ends the season against the Panthers, and right now, allegedly, that's not an easy win, right?
I would not consider that an easy win.
The Panthers are looking to rain on somebody's parade, and they've been looking to do that the past 5 weeks. Bryce Young's playing flawless.
Yeah, and then the Commanders have Dallas next week, too, so if they lose this week, and then they got over to the Cowboys...
I don't see them falling out of the playoffs even yet, but...
Well, they should have lost last week. That's how I was predicting them to not make the playoffs with a loss in Philly, a loss against Atlanta.
Then you got Tampa or Seattle right there to clean up the mess.
So, but, yeah, I'm going to go Falcons. What the heck?
Yeah, what do you got?
I picked them to win the division, so I got to stick with my guns,
Oh, that's right. Come on, Tampa. I picked them to win. But, yeah, I mean, that pretty much wraps it. Man, we're getting right down to it.
We are.
Playoffs time is coming. Now we're really going to have some doozy of some games coming up. There's going to be games that don't matter next week. There's going to be games that we talk about that matter more than anything in this world. Like that Vikings versus Detroit game is going to be ridiculous.
Man, I remember counting down the days to the Vikings-Giants game, week 1, and this season has completely flew by, and it's been so much fun. And like you said, Rob, hats off to the schedule makers because it's coming down right to the wire. It's going to be some awesome football.
It should be. And it's really interesting that our whole thought process might change next week of how who's going to play starters, who's not going to play starters into the next week's game. Yep. So this week is kind of
if the Vikings lose, they might not play starters.
Agreed. Yeah. If the Vikings, if they do lose,
because they got that 5 seed locked up. So I don't know why you would.
Exactly.
It's either 5 seed or division, and potentially 1 seed, which is so crazy.
Well, then the Lions aren't. And then the Lions aren't playing anybody, so you're paying $475 for tickets to watch backup players.
Well, $475 for the Packers, though. That's what this.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, but I'm assuming the tickets are in the Lions. Those still.
But still, they're paying for those tickets right now.
Oh, for sure,
thinking
they are.
that that's going to be the division game.
Yeah, and then they're flexing that game. So what if both teams aren't playing starters and it's flexed on Sunday night? They'll have to reflex it.
Who is Jared Goff's backup even? We'd have Nick Mullins versus I don't even know.
Let's get Danny Dimes in there. Skip Nick Mullins.
Skip Mullins, just put Dimes in there.
JJ McCarthy's probably healthy by now. Let's see what he's got.
There you go. Yeah, man. With that, Dan, thanks for being here, man.
Dude, it's been awesome.
We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Rob.
Dan will be back on our January 7th show with our fellow football coach, Matt Hamilton will be on that show.
Part of the playoff show.
Playoffs. We'll be previewing, I believe. Let's see. It's a wild card preview, that show for sure. So don't want to miss that. But Dan, we appreciate you being here this week.
Yeah, man.
In between your busy scheduled day today.
Yeah, right? It has been crazy, but anytime I can be on here, it is a blast.
For sure. Well,
I love it.
We appreciate you being here.
By the way, Jake Fromm is Detroit's backup quarterback.
Yeah, let's
Georgia Bulldog.
QB1.
Yeah, let's see Jake Fromm versus JJ McCarthy. Come on.
Why not?
For $500 a pop.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Rob, of course.
Tyler.
Thanks for being here every week. Other than Mexico.
Wow.
What a joke.
A couple weeks, I feel like I need another trip down.
Yeah, I bet.
Down to Mexico? Yeah.
Well, it'll be after a Vikings Super Bowl win, then.
Or watch the Super Bowl there.
Ooh.
Stop.
I did watch the Super Bowl in Hawaii last year. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Whatever.
lucky.
Unbelievable. Anyway, thanks for being here, Rob, and not in Hawaii this week.
Thank you.
Of course, Kev behind the camera, getting everything done for us, editing, getting it out for you guys to see or listen to if you're on Spotify. Don't forget, obviously, it's Christmas this week, so happy holidays to all of our Banter with the Boys listeners.
Merry Christmas.
Obviously, shout-outs to our guests, Jake, Matt, Ben, Tyler, Graham, Trey, Cody, Dom, Rachel, and D'Angelo. Thanks for being a part of our show as we head into the playoffs here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to the Banner. And, happy holidays from Banter with the Boys. We'll see you next week.
Merry Christmas.
Goal, baby.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Tune in next time for more Banter with the Boys.